Hello students, previous session we discussed regarding the meaning of the sovereignty. Now we'll discuss regarding the characteristic features of sovereignty. So first of all, sovereignty is absolute. Absolute means without any restrictions, internally as well as externally. Next, sovereignty is universal. So it is universal in character. It applies to all the individuals and association within the state organization. So that means state is supreme internally as well as externally. Then sovereignty is inalienable. That means we can't divide the sovereignty or we can't transfer the sovereignty. If we transfer the sovereignty, the very existence of the supremacy will go away. So we can't transfer the sovereignty. Then the next one, sovereignty is permanent. It is a permanent. So the government may come, government may go. The power may come and power may go. But the sovereignty will remain as it is. So it is permanent in nature. State and the sovereignty are inseparable. Both are same. Any change in the government or death of a king or president does not mean loss of the sovereignty, but only shifting of the power from one person to another. The ruler of the or the government exercise the power on behalf of the state. So whoever is in power, they are exercising the power on behalf of the state, because state is an artificial institution. Somebody required to run the administration, but the state will remain the same. The supreme power will remain the same, but the person may come, person may go, but the power will remain with the state. So that way we can say that sovereignty is permanent in nature. Then sovereignty, we can't divide the sovereignty. If we divide the sovereignty, the supremacy will go away. So it exists as a whole. In the words of the Gettle, he has laid down the sovereignty is not absolute, no state exists. So that means, so without the sovereignty, state can't exist. If sovereignty is divided, more than one state exists. So if we divide the sovereignty, then the state will lost its significance or supreme power in federal state. But the question will come in our mind, so in case of the federal government, so there is a existence of the distribution of the power is there, but the sovereignty will divide, not at all. So whereas in case of the federal form of the government denotes existence of two government, but it does not means that the existence of the two governments not followed by the distribution of the sovereign power, only the distribution of governmental powers but not sovereignty. Sovereignty with state only. Only the powers are divided between the state and the center. So that way here sovereignty can't be divided. Then sovereignty is original. So it means that it state's own authority, neither delegated nor transferred to state. So it can't be sovereignty, supreme power can't be transferred to state. It is an entire thing of the state and inherent right of the state. It is the inherent right of the state. So after summarizing, discussing all the concept relating to the term sovereignty, we can say that sovereignty is one of the important concept or characteristic feature of the state. So it plays a very vital role in the political science, and it is also an important element of the state. State is identified only because of its sovereign power. So state can be recognized only on the basis of the supreme power. Sovereignty is an independent. Sovereignty, it is independent. Otherwise we can say that it is imperial or colonial rule. So sovereignty is an independent and ultimate authority of the state. It vests the concept of the sovereignty, vests the supreme power in the hands of the state, unlimited power, or internally as well as externally. It makes the state supreme internally as well as externally. It means that internally the state is having the power to make and unmake any rules and regulation. Externally also the state is having the power to make any relation between the other nations or the execution of the foreign policy, implementation of the agreement. The state is having the full power to make negotiation with the other countries. That way, the sovereignty, the modern state is a sovereign state and it is universally accepted. So, it is an accepted fact. Modern sovereignty is accepted and without it there can be no state. The sovereignty is always definite, determinate and organized, and its existence can be seen in the form of the laws of the state. So some laws are applicable only to that state. Why? The state is having the full power to make and unmake any rules and regulation. On the basis of the existence of the laws only, we can come to know that that state is having the power. That power is known as supreme power, sovereign power, absolute power, indefinite power. So the obedience and the respect to the laws are compulsory and its violation is met with punishment. So the sovereignty not only vests the supreme power in the hands of the state to make and unmake any rules to run the administration without the control of the outsiders, but it also vests the supreme power in the hands of the state to make the people to obey the laws of the state. If the people refuse to obey the laws of the state, then the state is having the sovereign power to cast the punishment for the violation of the law. These laws are judicially enforceable. Suppose if the laws are not obeyed by the people, then they are liable for the punishment casted by the judiciary. The rights and the liberty of the people emanate from the law. So even the law itself provides the rights, liberty, equality which can be changed and replaced by the state. Though the government, that is the legislature, makes the rules, regulation or provides certain rights to the people towards the development of the personality, but the state is having the power to replace the existing law because the state is supreme power. The legislature is one of the organ working under the government. So this government legislature is acting under the state. The state is supreme, not the legislature. The state is having the power to make the any changes in the existing law, to make any right or to amend any right, existed right. The state is having the full power. Therefore, sovereignty is the key basis of the state. So the sovereignty is we can't separate the sovereignty from the state and all. So we can say that sovereignty is original, absolute, universal in character. It is the highest power of the state. It vests the supreme power in the hands of the state. Hence it is absolute and unlimited. Nobody is having the power to cast any restriction upon the state because the state is the highest association, because the state is having the supreme power. That supreme power means independent authority to control over all the things existed in the state organization. No one is above the state and has the right to question the authority of the state. No person is having the right to ask why the state has done like that, why the state has enacted such type of the laws. Nobody is having the power. That means sovereignty. Sovereignty means unquestionable. It unquestionable as well as no restrictions are casted upon the state towards exercising its authority or the power. So these all are the concept relating to the term sovereignty. Now we'll discuss another political concept, that is the law. So here the law means rule, regulation or principle, or we can say that set of rules. So which is formulated and enforced by the government. So law is nothing but set of rules and regulation. Who has created, who has made those laws? Government has enacted those laws. Then modern government is composed of three organs. So the government, so before we look into the meaning of the law, first we'll come to know the organization of the government. So already they have stated that the government is having the power to make the law. Then how the government is organized? Modern government composed of three organs, namely legislature, executive, judiciary. So the state is functioning with the help of the government. Without the government, the state can't function. The government is the agency of the state. Already we have discussed as a characteristic feature of the state. Government is one of the essential element of the state. So with the help of the government only, the state is functioning. of the entire administration of the state is carried out by government. So this is the concept. So under such, so the government is functioning. The government is composed of three organs, namely legislature, executive, judiciary. These three organs functions closely in relation to law. So these all three organs are closely related to the functioning of the law. So how these three organs are related? So we hear legislature, the main function of the legislature to make the set of laws. Then the laws are created by the legislature. Then it should be bring into action. Who is having the power regarding the enforcing? For that purpose, executive executes the law. That is the second organ of the government. That is the executive. The main function of the executive to enforce whatever the laws passed by the legislature. It is the duty of the executors to bring into action. That is known as the executes the law made by the legislature. Then the judiciary. What is the role of the judiciary? The judiciary interprets the law. Interprets the law means what? The judiciary provides a clear meaning towards the application of the existing law. So this way here, the law process incorporated or based upon these three organs of the government. So then on the basis of these laws, it delivers a judgment and protects the rights and liberties of the people. So this way these three organs are taking the part in respect of making the set of rules and regulation. Now we'll come to know how the term came into existence. The term law is derived from the Old Teutonic root lag, lag. It means something fixed. It is definite, it is clear, something fixed or even or uniform. It is equally applicable to all the people. Thus, law is a uniform set of rules. The law is nothing but uniform set of rules, regulations, enactment and enforced by the state. Who enforce the laws? State enforce the laws. Then applicable to all the people without any kind of discrimination. So that on the basis of that we can say that law is uniform. That means rules, regulations applicable to all the people of the state. In a political science, we study the political law. So different laws are there. That is a moral law, custom law, natural law. Different laws are there. So whereas in case of the political science, we study political law. Which mean, what is the political law? Which regulates the activities of a man as a member of the state. So in a political term, the political law stands for regulates. System of rules and regulations regulates the activities of the individual as a member of the state. Political law deals with external behavior of man. It deals with external behavior, his activities relating to the state. So external means because man is a social animal, he can't live in isolation. He has to depend upon the state to lead a good life, social life. So his every acts are depending upon the state organization. So with the help of laws, the state controls the activities of the individual. Though political law is the creation of the state, then who created the political law? Already we come to know that the state creates the law. Even the political law also creation of the state. Customs, how the political laws are came into existence, what are the sources of the law? The law is nothing but system of rules and regulations. Some laws are came into existence on the basis of the custom existed in the society. In course of time, those customs are accepted by the people and given the meaning of the law. Then that means the government has accepted and enacted and passed and interpreted by the judiciary. Then the same custom will come in the form of the law. So that is the first source. The law came into existence on the basis of the custom. Then the next one, the another source, that is the tradition, set of existing traditions. On the basis of that only the law came into. In course of time, the state has accepted those tradition and given the legal sanction and incorporated as a set of rules and regulation by giving the meaning of law. Then the third one, religion. Some laws are there in constitution. Those laws are came into existence on the basis of the religion. So many laws are there. Personal laws are there. So on the basis of the religion also, plays a way regarding the freedom of religion is there. Freedom, every person is having the right to express, every person is having the right to accept, propagate any religion according to his own conscience, as well as he can accept, he can organize, he live according to his own religious, and equity are the foundation. Equity is nothing but judgment given by the judicial organization. So equity, so these all are the sources. With the help of those only the law came into existence. Hence laws are recognized and enforced by the state. Then different definitions are cited by the different political thinker. According to their opinion, we can say that it is nothing but it is an order given by the superior to an inferior. Law is nothing but it is a command. Command means order issued by the superior to an inferior. Then in the words of the Green, he also laid down the system of rights and obligation which the state enforces. Law is nothing but it incorporated certain rights as well as obligation by the state. Then law is a general rule of external and human action enforced by a sovereign political authority. Then, from the above definition, we can summarize the characteristic feature of the law. Law exists in an organized political society, that is a state, where it regulates the external behavior of people. Law is nothing but it is a system of rules and regulations. Where it exists in state. Then for what purpose? To regulate the actions of the individual as a member of the society. Then the law is applicable to all the people without making any discrimination on any ground. It is uniform in nature. Then the third one, it is general, it is official, it is applicable to all the administrative institutions existed in the state organization. Law is precise, law is definite, it is comprehensive, it is detailed, it is published, it is written. It, it also resembles, the concept of the law resembles the will of the people. Whatever the will of the people, that will become in the form of the law. Because the people express their opinion, on the basis of the opinion only, the state will consider their opinion and bring in the form of the set of rules and regulations. So the law represents the will of the people, as well as it also represents the will of the state. This is the will of the state. What is the will of the state? To promote the good, to establish a welfare state, or to regulate the social behavior of the individual, to prevent quantum of the crime. So these all are the will of the state, or the will of the state can also express in with the help of the law. Then it is in the nature of casting punishment. Sometimes disobedience towards the accepting the law, it also amounts punishment. So whenever we disobey the existing law, we are liable for the punishment. Then the law, what is the significance of law? Why the law came into existence? For welfare of the people also, for providing the efficient administration also, providing the justice also. For that purpose the law came into existence. So the law is very essential to run the efficient administration, to control the behavior of the individual, as well as to make the citizen law binding citizen. For that purpose the law is very essential. With the help of the law only it is possible to run efficient administration and to establish the purpose of the origin of the state. Then there are different types of laws. For example, the law has been classified into national law, international law. National law means within the nation. The state is having the power to make the law within the territorial or territorial state. That is known as the international law. International law beyond, that is the external. The state is not only having the power to make the law within the state organization, the state is also having the power to make the law by way of agreement, by way of execution of the bilateral agreement, execution of the foreign policy, as well as those towards protection of its nation in times of peace and war. So that is known as international law. Then another one, the constitutional law. The constitutional law is nothing but it is a fundamental law of the land or supreme law of the land. It determines the functions of the government, rights, citizens, relationship between the government and the people. So the law may be written, constitutional law may be written or unwritten. Constitutional law is a supreme law of the state. It is a supreme law of the state. Then the next one, ordinary law as well as the statutory law. Ordinary law is enacted by the legislature of the country. Day to day administration is carried on with the help of this law. It determines the relationship between citizens and the state. Violation of law leads to punishment. The court recognizes this law and applies the same to decide the cases of disputes. Then public law. Public law regulates the relation between the state and citizens. Then private law. Private law regulates the relation between the citizens. Private law includes law of contract, law of property, and law of succession. Then administrative law. Administrative law relating to the law. It settles the disputes of civil servants in administrative matters with the help of administrative tribunals. In union government, central administrative tribunal and the state administrative tribunal conducts the inquiry relating to service matters. So these all are the different kinds of laws. So remaining we'll discuss in the next session.